You once cried until you had nothing left, and they just watched, cold, indifferent, as if your pain didn't exist. That wasn't accidental. It might have been a sign of something much deeper, a lack of empathy. Some relationships don't break with shouting. They break with silence, the kind that stretches so long, it starts to suffocate you. You don't walk away right away. You stay. You try one more time, and then one more, and again without even realizing it. You explain things gently so they won't get defensive. You apologize, even though you're the one who's hurting. You look for reasons to understand them, to forgive, to believe that if you're just patient enough, maybe things will change. But they keep doing the same things, still distant, still careless, as if the conversations you had never happened at all. You begin to doubt your own feelings. You wonder if you're just being too sensitive, if maybe you're asking for too much. And then, one night, in the stillness, a question escapes your lips and chills your heart. If they can't feel my pain, did they ever truly love me? That question doesn't come from anger. It comes from exhaustion. You're no longer trying to prove anything. You just want to understand. And to understand, we have to begin at the root, empathy. Because someone who cannot empathize will love differently. They're not necessarily evil, but they may be incapable of truly feeling the pain you're going through. And if they can't feel it, can they ever really change? To understand why narcissists are so difficult to change, we must go back to a fundamental concept in psychology, empathy. Empathy is the ability to step outside your own ego, to feel, understand, and respond to someone else's emotions. But in narcissists, this ability is often severely damaged or nearly non-existent. According to renowned psychologist Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, he writes, "Empathy represents a foundation skill for all the social competencies important for work. Understanding others, developing others, service orientation, leveraging diversity, political awareness." In other words, empathy is not just a moral virtue. It's a core social skill, enabling people to form relationships, build communities, and interact with the world in a humane way. Narcissists lack empathy not because they don't want to understand others, but because many of them simply can't. From a neurological perspective, multiple studies have shown that individuals with narcissistic tendencies have underactive regions in the brain responsible for empathy. A study published in Brain and Behavior, 2013, found that people with high levels of narcissism showed reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex when witnessing someone else in pain. In other words, they could recognize the suffering, but they didn't feel it. They might see their partner in distress, but their brain doesn't activate any natural urge to comfort, apologize, or change their behavior. We often believe that change starts with awareness, that once someone realizes they've done wrong, they will try to make it right. But that only works for people capable of self-reflection and feeling the emotional consequences of their actions. But what about narcissists? One of the most dangerous traits of narcissism is that they live in an inner world entirely centered around the self. Everything is interpreted in a way that serves their ego. If you're upset, they think you're being dramatic. If you talk about being hurt, they see you as weak or manipulative. They're not always trying to cause harm, but they see no reason to stop if what they're doing meets their own needs. That's why real change for a narcissist isn't just difficult. It goes against the very structure of their belief system. Imagine loving someone who doesn't know what hunger feels like. Every time you cook, they refuse to eat. When you ask why, they simply say, "I don't feel the need." You try to explain hunger, the importance of nutrition. They may listen, but they'll never truly feel it. Empathy works the same way. It's a kind of emotional hunger. When we see someone hurting, we feel compelled to act. But narcissists don't feel that hunger, and you can't feed someone who doesn't believe they're starving. A common question is, can a narcissist ever truly change? The answer, yes, but it's rare, and the conditions required are extreme. Change only occurs after a real collapse, a major emotional shock that forces them to confront themselves, losing someone they deeply depended on, complete isolation, or long-term intensive therapy. Psychologist Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, wrote, "Narcissists can change, but only if they want to and if they feel emotionally safe enough to let go of their defenses. That means narcissists only change when they genuinely want to and when they feel emotionally safe enough to drop their armor. But here's the hard truth. You, the one they've hurt, usually can't be the one to heal them, because in that relationship, the balance of power is already broken. You can't be both the one who's wounded and the one expected to heal." Many people stay with narcissists, believing that love can heal everything. But sometimes love only drains you, because you're trying to fill a void that was never yours to fill. You're not wrong for loving someone who is broken, but you must understand, not everyone who is broken is ready to heal, and not everyone who loves knows how to love without hurting others. One of the hardest parts of loving a narcissist is this: they can be brilliant, magnetic, deeply attractive, yet completely incapable of truly seeing you. They see you as an extension of themselves. When you please them, you're wonderful. When you stop serving their image, you become a burden. A narcissist doesn't change because you cry. They don't change because you forgive. They only change if they see themselves clearly and realize they're losing something truly irreplaceable. And you know what's saddest of all? In many cases, that awakening, if it ever happens, only comes after you've already walked away. You were the mirror, but they only looked into it when there was nothing left to reflect. In the end, the most heartbreaking part isn't that the narcissist didn't love you. It's that they loved you in a way that made you forget your own worth. You stayed, you tried, you hoped, but when someone can't feel the pain you're going through, then love, if it exists at all, will never be enough to make you feel emotionally safe. The truth is, not everyone is capable of change, and even fewer are willing to change because of love. There's nothing wrong with having loved them, but you never have to sacrifice yourself to prove it. Sometimes, letting go isn't giving up. It's an act of profound courage, a way of telling yourself, I deserve to be loved in a healthy way. I deserve to be understood. I deserve to feel safe. If today's message helped you see a piece of your own story, please leave a comment below. Even just a single line, a simple hello, or a heart emoji can be a way for us to connect, deeper than words could ever fully express. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos, where we'll continue exploring the journey of self-understanding, healing, and emotional growth. Thank you for staying with me until the very last moment.